Dave LaGreca and the world's strongest man, not a world champion in one sport, not two sports, not three, but now a WWE Hall of Famer when we get to WrestleMania weekend. The one, the only, Mark Henry. Mark, how the hell are you, man?
We want Mark. We want Mark.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
Oh, man, you talk about being a mark for yourself, literally and figuratively. Man, it's a great morning, man. I want to start off by apologizing to everybody. I wasn't taking calls yesterday. I was just caught up in the moment, and I owe a great load of gratitude for all the people that called and said thank you. And you are 100% welcome for every little bit of help that I was able to give, because I get more joy out of than my own personal gains or accolades. The fact that there's people that, say that my help to them was immeasurable. And I get a lot of joy out of that.
Mark, this is a time to reflect. Watching that package last night on Monday Night Raw, and they did a great job, showing the baby pictures and the pictures of your mom and, your early career and all the way up until WrestleMania 29. They showed you walking down that ramp at MetLife Stadium where next year's WrestleMania is going to be. And, this is a time to reflect. So, first of all, congratulations. Not just from me, but everybody here from Busted Open, SiriusXM, and the Busted Open Nation. And I am sure today, Mark, we are going to get a ton of phone calls from the Busted Open Nation, because this is a time to reflect, favorite memories for the fans, but also to get some of the favorite memories from you.
Man, I can't wait. I'm excited about our guests. I'm excited about the opportunity of speaking with the fans as well as people that I actually know. And it's just going to be a great show.
Well, you mentioned the guests, and at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Hillbilly Jim, who's also going to be a part of the 2018 WWE Hall of Fame class, will be joining us. And somebody I know that you know very well, you've mentioned him many times on this show, Rip Rogers, is going to be joining us at 11 a.m. Eastern Time.
The Hustler.
Hustler Rip Rogers is going to be joining us. And when Hustler Rip Rogers joins us, I'm hoping all the kids will be in school, because you know how Rip can be when he's on the air.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Rip he's special. That's how I'm gonna leave it. Rip is special.
Rip is special. And you know what, though? I know that Rip has been special to you, and especially the early part of your career. Rip just has a love for pro wrestling. And, even speaking to him on the phone yesterday, just to confirm him coming on today, it's just an outpouring of love to you, Mark. And that's the one thing I noticed all over social media the last 24 hours is the love and respect that you have from everybody in the business.
You know what? I appreciate it. I tried my best to go my whole career without ever doing anybody wrong. And, I live by that. And I guess it's worked, because, I haven't got the Mark Henry's a douchebag, so if you strive your whole life without trying to make that list, I guess you do pretty good.
And you know what? I learned that at a very early age. It's okay when your day is done to have a headstone that says, you know what, you're a good guy. And, there's very, very few people like that. It's very rare, Mark, that you meet and talk to somebody that people don't have a bad word to say about. And it seems that that's definitely the case when it comes to you, not just in the world of wrestling, but even outside of wrestling, all the community work that you do. It does seem like you strive to be just a good all-around guy.
Well, I try to be. I've been real blessed, man. I had good parents. My grandmother was one of the best communicators that I've known, even still today. And she taught me that, look, you got to look people in the eye and you got to talk to them like you would talk to me. And bro, it's work. She was 100% right.
You know, Mark, you being an Olympic weightlifter and strongman, power lifter, and everything that you've done prior to being in the world of pro wrestling, and you've talked about it on this show, that you are a fan of pro wrestling. You are a fan of Andre the Giant. You know, what was it like to be a fan, to love this business at a very early age, and to be able to step in the ring, compete at a high level, be a world champion, and now be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Man, unbelievable feeling. I'd have to say that my love for wrestling is what made me who I am today, because Vince would have never known who I was if it hadn't been for me being on Oprah and saying, what does the world's strongest man do in his spare time? And wrestling was what I did in my spare time. I was the fan. Everybody out there that listens to this show and programs like this one, like that spends their last dime, or they say, yeah, I'm not going to be able to buy lunch tomorrow, I'm going to go buy a wrestling ticket. Like that guy, that was me. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, I feel like it was only fitting that somebody like me actually gets to be in this situation and to be able to tell every one of those fans that you're not alone, you're doing the right thing. Everybody that looks at what you do as being weird or not the popular thing to do, they're the ones that's wrong.
When you went, Mark, as a fan, when you were a kid and you went to the wrestling matches, who would you go to the matches with?
Oh, my grandmother. My grandmother was a wrestling fan. My mom, not so much. But my grandmother, man, we would take a Greyhound bus in little small downtown Silsbee, take the bus to Beaumont, jump off, get a cab, and go to the Beaumont Civic Center, watch wrestling, and then take the late bus back to Silsbee and get dropped off sometimes like 11 o'clock at night. And for a little kid during the summer, going to bed at 11 o'clock was like, man, I struck gold. I'm rich.
And you know what? That's something that it's funny, and I love doing this, Mark, because like I said, you're going into the Hall of Fame. You know, you're somebody that competed, you know, for the WWE, and a lot of fans that listen to this show, you know, you're somebody that they watched on TV or paid a ticket to see. But when it comes to pro wrestling, you know, wrestling's in everyone's DNA. Everyone that's listening to this show right now, you know, it's in our DNA to be a wrestling fan. And it's hard to explain what it's like to be a wrestling fan to somebody who's not. But this is how we can relate to the actual performers in the ring and somebody like you, is that we all can relate, whether it was our grandmother, our mom, our dad, that took us to the matches as a kid, or you're a parent and you take your kids to the matches. I mean, that's something that I think everyone can relate to.
And the kid will never, ever forget those trips. They'll never forget it. I'm 46 years old, and I still can remember like yesterday stopping at this place in Beaumont called the Catfish Kitchen after wrestling, and, you know, just enjoying that with my grandmother. Like that, it was just me and hers, you know, thing. You know, my brother watched the cartoon, but he didn't know it like I knew it. Mm-hmm. And it was just something that, you know, I would tell her about the cartoon like it was real. And she would be like, and what happened next? You know, it's like, that was me and her. Like, so I value that, man. That's the thing about wrestling that I love the most, is the memories and how they connect with the people that I was so closely involved with.
Are you going to have those feelings when you walk up to that podium in April in New Orleans?
Oh man, I'm gonna be crying like a baby, man. Like it's hard right now. Like I try my best to keep it together because it's necessary, but like it's a emotional thing. Like everything that I worked for paid off.
And that's a good feeling.
And that's all you want.
Yeah, and to be, not only that, but to be recognized by your peers. It's one thing to know that you accomplished everything that you wanted to in this business, but when you get the love and respect from your peers, that's got to be an amazing feeling.
and you want to be rich, and not rich with material things, with money, nothing, but like you were saying, the respect from your peers and the relationships that you establish. I talked to two people that are really, really close to me, like beyond family. Like they're my confidants, they're the brain trust, and they couldn't even hardly talk to me yesterday. They were just crying. It was like, man, you did it for us. It's not just you. It's like we hung our hat on you, and you did it. And I was like, wow, it's pretty big.
Yeah, that is big. And congratulations to you. And I think this is a good venue for the fans, Mark, fans of yours. I mean, because I always relate pro wrestling to sports. I always will. To me, it's a sport. And I look at the Hall of Fame, and it's my favorite night of WrestleMania weekend. I've said it, since I've been able to go. It's been that nostalgic trip when you go to the Hall of Fame and you see all those other fans, and to have it in an arena where it holds, 15 to 20,000 fans along with your peers. And in essence, Mark, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer.
First ballot. Get that T-shirt.
You're not waiting until 2025. Or you're not going in as the Legends wing of the WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, you're going from the active roster into the Hall of Fame, and that's got to be special that you're a first ballot WWE Hall of Famer.
It is, man. I mean, just a confirmation of the work was not for nothing. And there were a lot of haters along the route that got to suck it now. And I don't think for 1 second that I ain't forgot every last one of you suckers that hated and disrespected. And I remember a time, man, where I walked in the locker room. I heard a lot of laughing and joking. This is probably about 6 months in. And I'm like, what's going on? And I get in, and my wrestling bag had padlocks on it. So somebody had padlocked my bag, like 3 or 4 different padlocks was, on my bag. So I was just target for the ribbon and all that kind of stuff. I hope that every last one of y'all that did that. Now, I'm not going to wish a hateful death on you or nothing, but I hope that you get like a rash in a place that's very sensitive. But man, it was some haters along the way, and I'm telling a kind of a clown story, but there's stuff that's even worse than that, like just the people trying to break down your character and make you feel like I can't say make you feel like you're beneath them somehow, but it's kind of that kind of stuff. There was people that tried to prove to you that I'm above you and you got to do what I say, and not so much from the office, but from a talent. And I never did that to anybody. There's no wrestler in the world that can say that I big dogged them, that I tried to make them feel beneath me somehow. I educated everybody. I tried to help everybody. When people was messed up, I carried them to carried them to their bedrooms. Like, I mean, I was that guy, and I'm reaping the benefits for it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people in that locker room look at you as a mentor. I mean, I'm just judging from the short time that you've been a host with me on Busted Open. All the guests that have called in during your shows that come on because they love and admire you. And when they come on, some of the biggest superstars in the WWE right now, and how much respect that they show you. And that's going to be key, and that's going to be something very special, I'm sure, once we get to New Orleans.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to hugging everybody, man. Like I'm gonna have to make sure that I'm always fresh, because I'm gonna be getting a lot of hugs.
And people, when they're talking about your Hall of Fame induction, and people are questioning, all right, who's gonna induct you into the Hall of Fame, and there's a lot of questions like that. But I think the most seen question that I saw all over Twitter was that, are you gonna wear the salmon jacket that you wore to Raw that night when you swerved everybody?
That jacket is probably 5 sizes too big right now.
You look damn good.
I'm gonna see. I may just have to put it on anyway.
Is that one of your favorite memories? I mean, what you coming into the ring and it looked like you were going to say goodbye and you had a tear in your eye and then you just completely swerved everybody in attendance. Is that one of your favorite memories as a performer?
Yeah, it was. It was probably my best performance as far as getting people and it being just a premeditated 3-month buildup of, man, I'm just done. I can't do this no more. Like, I don't want people to see me less than what I see myself. And then I hit them with I got a lot left in the tank. So it was just such a gratifying feeling to be able to, and I really have to thank Vince for that because, I had said that I was going to retire and that I was tired for so long that it had even got to him. Mm-hmm. And he was like, what's the deal? He was like, you really want to go? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, I'm hurting. And he was like, man, you could do so much more, and especially now. That's the genius of Vince. He can see stuff that you just can't see.
Speaking of Vince McMahon, and you hear a lot about Vince, some positive, some negative. How has been your relationship with Vince over the years?
My relationship has been great because Vince realized that I'm a man and that my fears lie with God and nobody else. And I can't say, he hates the guy that's like, hey boss, how you doing? Just happy to be around. And he hate that. Like he's a man's man. Like he want people to be tough. He want people to represent the company. That if they're held under the fire, they're gonna tell you to go to hell. Mm-hmm. Like this is my business. Don't talk negative about it. And he knew that I was one of those.
You've been a guest, frequently throughout the years here on Busted Open, and there were times, 3-4 years ago that you came on the air and said, this is probably going to be my last WrestleMania. This is probably going to be my last tour, but yet you were there. Was that something that you were really struggling with the last 2 or 3 years about saying goodbye to this business?
I mean, it was at the time, it was true. I was just like, man, I'm just tired. Like my body is beat up. I mean, I was having trouble getting out of bed. And the motivation was not financial. It was, am I perceived the way that I want to be perceived? And I didn't think that I was. I thought I was. I enjoyed comedy. I loved Sexual Chocolate. That was like one of my favorite times in my career. And then there was a point where I wanted to be champion, but I was not getting the nod. And then there was, I started getting joked with and kind of played with too much for my taste. And I was like, man, I'm not doing this. And then once I kind of put my foot down and, people saw that I can, when I got angry, that I could make lava run the other way. It was like, man, we need to do this. We need to do this Mark Henry angry thing. And then the Hall of Pain was born.
Love the Hall of Pain. That's my favorite personal time of your career, Mark. The Attitude Era, and everybody has their favorite era of pro wrestling. What was it like during the Attitude Era? Because you guys were truly superstars in that period.
Man, you know what? I spent most of my time in the Attitude Era, either in the Nation or doing Sexual Chocolate, which, mainly I was the bodyguard for the Nation. And, me and D-Lo ended up tagging for about 2 years, and which was unbelievably awesome because we got to work the Outlaws a lot. And, the list goes on of the other tag teams. But, just being in that locker room, man, like sometimes Steve Austin was not the main event. Sometimes The Undertaker was not the main event. Sometimes DX or the Nation was not the main. I mean, it was so many people, man. Like you go in the locker room and you look to your right, you look to your left, and almost everybody was a Hall of Famer.
You know, Mark, I really quick, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think in every era of pro wrestling, you knew the definitive main eventer. In the 80s, it was Hogan. You know, a couple years back, even now, John Cena's always in the main event. But during the Attitude Era, Mark, I mean, like, yeah, one night it could be Stone Cold, one night it could be The Rock. I mean, one night it could be the tag teams. You know, it was a different
Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart.
Yes.
Like, I mean, it was just like so heavy, and you know, Big Show was starting to come into himself around 11, between 05 and 11. Big Show was a big deal, and he's a big deal now, but like during that time, it's like some people were like, oh, it's Andre's son, and like different crazy bullcorn type stuff, but his work for be the giant, like as far as big guys are concerned, I stick to this. I've never seen anybody work at a better work rate than him as a big man, including myself. Like he's a special talent that people need to really enjoy, because, you know, like, you know, he's getting long in the tooth like me. and you're going to miss him when he's gone. I can promise you that.
Is Big Show maybe on that short list of people you're thinking about inducting you in April?
Without a doubt. Like, there's no list. I mean, you know, like him, The Rock, and The Undertaker, you know, like, are the people that I look at as being like, wow, those are my brothers. And I know how Dwayne is, like what all is going on with him, and the dead man is the dead man, you know, and Big Show is the guy that I actually travel with. He's a guy that I love his family. I love him like a brother. And, you know, like there's nobody that I could think of that has traveled the road with me as long as he has, that I wouldn't say, hey, that's the guy that's got to bring me in.